Welcome back, everyone. We continue to hear stories every day about violence against worshipers and their places of worship. And this past weekend in California, no different. Unfortunately, a shooter killing Lori Kay while she was protecting her rabbi at a synagogue. So we wanted to bring in two local faith leaders who know about the diversity of our community. And always a pleasure to spend time with Rabbi Chanoch OppenheiIm with the Charlotte Torah Center and Imam Atif with the Islamic Society of Greater Charlotte. Gentlemen, thank you both for being here. I love spending time with you. I wish it was about a different topic, but hard to believe, 6 months ago, almost to the day, we were sitting here having the same conversation about what took place in Pittsburgh, and now here we are talking about an event that happened in California. Rabbi, I'll start with you, since this happened at a synagogue over the weekend. When you hear this news, what is the first thing you either think about or try to tell your worshipers?
Well, the first thing, obviously, is the tragedy. The tragedy for us is obviously the Jewish community, the tragedy in America, because any time there's going to be a hate crime, it's going to affect us all. And that's an awful thing. Hate crimes for Jews are 58%. That makes it more than half of all religious hate crimes in America are anti-Semitic. And so for us as a community, we're on guard. On the other hand, we're a strong community. Our faith guides us, obviously, and we are all about, when something tragic happens, the main thing is to remember to continue in our value system, continue to do good deeds, and convince others to do things called mitzvot and good deeds, and really to help and reach out to others also in the midst of all this tragedy.
Imam Atif, I know this. Again, we've had this conversation before, and you have had to deal with the same type of hate towards the community, the Islamic community and the Muslim community. And what do you do when you hear that something like this goes on? Do you have to step up security? How do you comfort your worshipers?
The first thing we do is pray. We ask God for protection. And honestly, when anything like this happens, like Rabbi said, this is something that affects all of us. And unfortunately, the shooter in San Diego, we're hearing that is also involved in an investigation for arson attack at a mosque just a week prior.
I heard that too,
it just goes to prove that a person who's anti-Semitic is also, in a sense, Islamophobic. That the xenophobia, the underlining issue is similar. So when we have to deal with these issues, we have to step back, first pray, and then also remember that there's more allies, there's more friends, there's good, decent people in our communities that we've built relationships over time with. And we know that this is something that there's many people that are fighting against, and that in instances like this, we really get to see the good in our community as well. And it's not just that lingering fear that overtakes us, but it's really the optimism of our friendships and other faith leaders that builds us up as well.
Well, it is, because we don't want to send negative focus towards the one person, or the person that was the shooter, because even his family, this kid was 19, and his parents are coming out going, we didn't raise him this way. Yeah. We never raised him to hate anyone. People are getting caught up in the wrong crowd. They're getting they're getting together in groups where hatred and evil is so rampant. And so when these stories come out, I know it's rare, and unfortunately we have to be the ones to talk about it because of our profession here in the news. But this does give us a time to look at, like you said, the positive in the Jewish community and outside of the Jewish community. I mean, how do we come together to just embrace the good that we're doing?
I would agree. I personally have taken a tour of the Pittsburgh synagogue, the Tree of Life synagogue that this happened. I was on a private tour, and you see the outpouring, of course, of the Jewish community, but the community in general in Pittsburgh pitched in, and in every way, shape, or form, as is mentioned, we want to stress the goodness. There's a tiny bit of evil here, tiny bit. That's I could say tiny, but it's huge in its impact. But on the other hand, there are many more good people. Somebody yesterday came over to me, a Christian man, and said, "Sir, I just want to apologize for the fact that there are such hateful people in this country."
Oh, wow.
So there has been solidarity in these kind of things. We do have to concentrate on the positive, but at the same time, we can't forget there are many evil people, and there's a lot of hatred, and hate crimes, as I say, are up, and they're up a lot, especially with anti-Semitic incidents.
And even in the Muslim community, after 9/11, we are living in the worst times when it comes to Islamophobia. So instances in our community are also at its peak. So this is alarming, but at the same time, those friendships and community members and people that have been there for a very long time are sustaining us, really.
It doesn't take a lot of light to get rid of the darkness. I mean, you got a dark room, you light one candle, boom, it's not dark anymore. So you put multiple pillars of light together, and it's amazing what can be done. And we don't want to see that kind of violence here in Charlotte. I know starting tomorrow is Ramadan, the month of Ramadan.
Next week.
Next week starts Ramadan. So I know there's events coming up and other faith community leaders that are coming together later in the month of May to talk about this very thing.
We have a yearly interfaith iftar where we reach out to the interfaith community in Charlotte. We reach out to the politicians, activists, leaders in the community just to join us for dinner, just to join us when we break bread after our fast to say, look, we're one community, we're one family, and we have to look out for each other. And we respect all of our differences. We recognize at the end of the day, there's a lot of similarities that we can focus on more than those differences.
I love that. Rabbi, before we run out of time, for someone out there who maybe they were brought up to not ever hate anyone. Maybe right now they're toying with a thought of doing something that might be harmful to someone else. What do you say to them about our community, about our differences?
About our larger community here in Charlotte, a multi-faith community. To a hateful person? That's a very difficult conversation. That with a hateful person, hate is obviously an evil thing. It's an awful thing. As Jews, we say it's interesting that this incident happened at Passover. At Passover, every year we say at our Seder, the traditional first part of Passover, in every generation they rise up to destroy us, but we are trust in God and we pray to Him, and He has sustained us. Our survival after all these years, with many years without a national homeland, language, anything, and we're still here. We put our trust in God. And to evil people, there have been a lot of evil people over the years. We're still around. Good people are still around.
That's right.
And
I love
that's our
that.
message.
That's a great answer. Pray for others. Even love your enemies, certainly. Both of you, thank you for your time today. We'll be back.
Thank you.
Pleasure.